everybody. Let's get started then. We're going to start the same as before, in standing with a little warm-up. Remember, as always, take it at your own level. So I'll try and give you lots of options as we're going through. Anything feels uncomfortable, if anything brings on any pain, obviously don't push through that movement. Either dial it back to the easier option or modify it slightly if you can do that, or just take a rest and then join back in when you're able to do so. So lovely to see so many of you on the call yet again. We're going to do the same class as we did last week. So hopefully some of the movements should feel a little bit more familiar to you this week. So if no one has any questions before we get started, if you want to just come up into standing. So just make sure you've got a little bit of room around you. And to begin with, we're going to start just thinking a little bit about your posture. So just having your feet hip distance apart, trying to feel the points of contact through the base of your big toe, base of your little toe, and through your heel. And when you've got those 3 points of contact, what I'm going to get you to do is just transfer your weight slightly over onto the right leg, and then allow that left leg to float up. Now we're going to take a hold of that leg and just hug it in towards your chest. And stand as tall as you can. So imagine a spring attached to the top of your head, lifting you up to your full height, trying to keep your foot relatively relaxed, but not crunching up your toes, and using that strength through your center, through your core, to try and keep your balance. So from here, we're going to open out through the hips. So taking that leg out to the side, but still keeping your hips pointing forward. If you had 2 laser beams on your hips, they'd still be pointing straight ahead, but this kneecap is shining to the opposite wall. At the same time, just open out through the arms. We'll open out across the chest, but just take care that your shoulders don't start to hunch up. So keeping that length between your ear and your shoulder nice and open across the chest. And then from here, step that leg behind you, and then just take a stretch across to that side, feeling that opening out through that side of the body. It's almost like someone had hold of this hand and was just pulling it away, really lengthening away as much as you can to that side of the body. And then take your weight onto that back leg as we lift the other leg up in front this time. So again, just balancing here, trying to make your body as long and as strong and stable as possible. Then opening out through the hips as we take the arm out to the side. That might help with the balance a little bit as well. As we hold that there. Try and feel the glutes on this side working for you as well, helping again just to keep your stability there. And then step the leg behind and take that stretch all the way across, opening out through the opposite side of the body this time. It's almost like the ribs are lifting away from your pelvis, from your hips, and just getting a nice stretch through this side. You might feel a little bit in through here as well. So from here, we're going to bring the feet back to hip distance apart. Arms in front of the body. We're just going to bring a little bit of rotation to the body this time. The left arm is going to circle backwards. And as you do that, just follow with your eye gaze as the arm goes to the back of the room. And then as that one comes through, we're going to switch it to the opposite side. So we're just rotating from one side and then round to the other. And just make that a little bit quicker, little knee bend in between, just try and get a nice flow of movement as we do this. Then from here, we're going to take the arm and circle it overhead out to the side and then across to the other side. So a little knee bend as you circle over. Again, aiming for a nice flow of movement as we do that. Bring the leg back in. We're going back, circling overhead. So for 4, 3, 2, and then out to the side for 4, 3, 2, and then bring it into, I'll move forward slightly, into that plie squat or wide squat position. position that we've done for the last few weeks. So we're just going to hold it here, again thinking about that long, straight, tall spine. Try and keep that connection through your centre, again to be nice and strong through your trunk. Also starting to warm up through the legs a little bit. Make sure that your knees are pressing out to the side so that you're not rolling in and putting any pressure on your knees. You want to switch on through your glutes. You're going to do some work for those later on, so warming them up here. And trying to keep a little arch through your foot, so you're not collapsing down through the foot. Again, thinking about those 3 points of contact through the foot. I'm talking away here, but hopefully you're still holding that squat position, building a little bit of warmth and strength into those legs. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the right hand, cross and clasp them together, and then take your knuckles down towards your ankle. This foot turns to face forwards. Then when you reach your ankle there, just open up through the front arm, try and drop down through the ribs, into that nice triangle position. Might feel a little stretch through that front leg. Also trying to really rotate and open out through the upper back. And then circle that arm back. Once again, we're back in that squat position. So from here, taking the left hand across this time, take the hands down towards the ankle, and then open out, reaching those fingertips up to the ceiling into that triangle pose. Really try and lengthen down, flatten down through those ribs as you do this exercise. And then we're going to circle back over. We're just going to run through all of that again, but a little bit quicker, a little bit more flow to the movement. So if you remember, first of all, we're going into that balance exercise, lifting up through the single leg, opening out to the side, leg comes behind, and then reach across for that nice stretch. Over onto the opposite leg as we lift that knee up, opening out to the side. Lovely, well done. Leg goes behind and just stretch it across. From this position, we're going into those circles, arm circles behind, as we sweep for 4, 3, 2, and 1, then out to the side, 3, 2, let's do those circles again, behind for 4, 3, 2, and then the side, reaching, just nice flow of movement. And then into our squats. We're not going to hold it this time. Just take that hand across, coming straight into our triangle pose, circle overhead, and then repeating that to the other side. Circling round, and that's the end of our warm-up. Well done, guys. We're going to come down onto our mats now, so I'm just going to adjust my camera angle here. Bring yourselves nice and stiffly down onto your mats. You may want to have a little head cushion or folded towel in there underneath your head, just to keep that nice alignment through the neck. And just gently resting down, rib cage, gently melting into the mat. Hips, knees, ankles in line. And if we bring our focus to the pelvis, just lying here today, just take a little rock of your pelvis. So going backwards, flattening the back into the mat, and then rock it forward. So you create an arch underneath your back. And just switch between those two positions. So rolling backwards, flattening in, and then coming forwards and creating that arch. And where we tend to work in Pilates is in between those 2 points. So just come to rest in a natural resting position for you. You have a little slight gap in underneath your back, but make sure that's not too big. And just make sure that you're not squashing your back, forcing it down into the mat. So from that position, we're going to switch on through our deep core muscles. So it's almost like you're pulling on a pair of jeans that are maybe a little bit too tight, just gently drawing in through those lower tummy muscles. Sometimes helps for some people to think about lifting up from below, so almost like you're stopping going for a pee. And then when you can feel that slight tension in through those lower abdominals, keeping the pelvis nice and level, just going to bring in some movements of the legs. So we're going to lift one leg to that 90-90 position, then drop it out to the side. We come back to the middle and then lower down before switching to the other side. So keep that pelvis level, lift the leg up. It should just float up nice and effortlessly. Out to the side, smooth control movement, bringing it back and then resting down. So just keep that going in your own time. Trying to keep that nice flow of movement, trying to keep your center set. So there should be no movement through your pelvis. As you take that leg out to the side, just be careful that all of your pelvis isn't rolling away from you. You're keeping that nice and level. So if you had a spirit level across your hips, it would stay nice and level as you take that leg out to the side. You should also find that the leg that stays on the floor, the kneecap stays shining up towards the ceiling. So sometimes what happens is as you take the leg out to the side, the other leg starts to drop out to the side or starts to follow it. So just imagine you've got a glass of water balanced on top of that knee as you drop the leg to the side and back. So it's quite a simple exercise in terms of just lifting your leg and taking it out to the side, but there's still quite a lot to think about in terms of connecting to your body, connecting to your posture, making sure you've got that gentle activation through your core. This is a nice sort of warm-up exercise, if you like, some of the more challenging exercises we're going to move on to. So I'm just going to kind of have a little look at how you're getting on with that. Good, well done. So just try not to rush it too much. Nice and smooth and controlled. Yeah, well done. Yeah, these are looking good. And again, just be careful when you're taking the leg out to the side. Be careful that you, one, don't take it too far so that you are starting to get movement through the pelvis. And also you want your knee and your ankle to stay in line. So the whole of your shin drops out to the side rather than a rotation, which can then put a little bit of twist through your pelvis. So we'll just do one last one here of this exercise before moving on to our oblique prep. So with this, again, the pelvis and the lower back stay nice and still in their neutral position. We're keeping that low level activation. I'm going to clasp our hands together and take them behind our head, elbows just slightly forwards. And the hands are here just to support the weight of the head. So the hands never fall on the head. We don't want any pressure through your neck. It's just there to take the weight of your head. So from here, we're going to lift and rotate at the same time, come towards me, and then release back down. Then rotate to the opposite side before releasing back down. So like I said before, the pelvis stays nice and level. Make sure it's not rocking over to the side with you. Your knees stay shining up towards the ceiling. And you're thinking about peeling away your rib cage, your shoulder blade towards your opposite hip, rather than bringing your elbow towards your knee. That's when you start pulling on your head and start putting pressure on your neck. So making sure all of the work is coming through those oblique muscles that cross across the front of your abdomen, the front of your tummy. And if this is feeling quite easy for you, nice simple way of making it a little bit more challenging is just to come into our tabletop position. So we float one leg up, then connect a little bit stronger to your center to allow that second leg to lift. Now just be careful as you lift that second leg that there's no movement through your lower back, so you don't get any increased arch through your back or any pain into your lower back muscles. When you're in that position, bring your knees and your heels gently together, and you just continue that rotational movement through the upper body with your legs in that position. So say if you are feeling any pressure through your lower back, if it's not feeling comfortable or it's too challenging here, you have that option of bringing the legs back down to that start position. Now, whichever position you're in with your legs, either down here or up in your tabletop, we can make it a little bit harder once again, just by not resting down in between each movement. So we rotate to the side, then come to the middle, keeping the head and shoulders lifted, and scoop round to the other side. So you're keeping that tension through the abdominals the whole time as you rotate across. So much more challenging here, as they can either be feet down or feet up. Feet are up, just bringing them gently together. We're going to do a few more here. Again, I'll just come and have a little check on how you're doing. Beautiful, well done. These look very good. Again, remember to keep that elbow out to the side, just so that you're not putting any pressure onto your neck. Lovely. And think about rotating your breastbone from side to side. Beautiful, well done. If you've got your legs up off the ground, just being careful to keep that 90-90 position. So it's quite easy for them to start coming a little bit closer, but really try and challenge yourself to keep knees above your hips. Make sure that you're breathing and not holding your breath as you do these exercises. And hopefully you should be feeling your abs working by now. You're doing quite a lot of these. So rest your head and shoulders down. We're going to come down one leg and then the other. We're just going to come up onto our forearms. You might remember this exercise from last week if you were here this time. We're working on the same muscles that cross across the body. And what we're going to do is we're going to reach across towards your opposite leg as you come up. Now, as you come up, try not to push on this hand. That's there, just the light fingertip support. Control that down and then switch to the other side. So if you feel that you don't quite have the hamstring length for this, you can bend the knee. That makes it a little bit easier. If you are flexible enough, trying to keep that straight leg, reaching the toes away. Now, if you're feeling any pressure in your back with this exercise, your option is to come back down onto your back and just do a little leg extension, a little leg stretch on one side and then the other, okay? If you're feeling fine with this exercise, just continuing, but really try to make the abs do the work in this exercise. So as you come back down, control, 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 rather than just flopping back down onto the mat. Again, make sure you're breathing and not holding your breath. And make sure that your tummy muscles are still drawing in towards you and not bulging out or doming. If you are getting that, it might be that this exercise is just a little bit too challenging at the moment. And in which case, drop back to that option of the leg stretch that I just showed you. Now, on the next one, when you come to face the camera, just hold it there. Lovely, well done, perfect, these look nice. So you should have really light support through the hand. Lengthening that leg away, this looks very good. And then come all the way up into that sitting position. I've got nice long straight spine. Fingertips are reaching out in front of you. We're going to go into our oblique roll-ups. So again, we did this last week. So your starting position, you're going to tilt the pelvis backwards. So roll off your sit bones, connect through your abdominals so you can feel your ribs and your pelvis coming closer together. And use that strength through your center as you open up and roll back. And then scoop the arm back into that straight position. And then we're going to do that to the other side. So you roll off your sit bones, draw in through your center, rotate under control, and then come back to that starting position. all the time you're using those tummy muscles to do this exercise. And again, if you're feeling that that's not comfortable for you, it's not feeling good on your back, or you're feeling too much pressure through your hips, then your option is to come back and do some more of that first exercise that we did, taking the leg out to the side and back. So choice is yours. Well done, these are looking nice. Nice, smooth, flowing movement. As you come back to that start position, make sure you don't overcorrect. You don't want an arch in your back. You're just coming up to that straight spine position. And if you're finding that's quite difficult to get into this position, if you do have a yoga block, you might want to put that in underneath your hips to make it a little bit more achievable. So keep that going. Once again, I'm just going to come and have a little look at how we're doing here. This looks very nice. So some really good ranges of movement that I'm seeing here. Well done. Yeah. So really try and kind of slow it down, keep that control the whole time. Lovely. Well done, well done. And with this particular exercise, we're going back and rotating at the same time. So rather than coming back and then opening up, you're opening up as you roll back and then rotating as you come back to that start position. Again, when you come to the next one where you're facing the camera, we're going to hold it here. Just holding that position, feeling that strength through your abs, drawing them in towards you. Beautiful. And then come all the way over onto your side. We're going to go into that clam sequence that we did last week. The clam sequence, we're lying down flat on our side. If you've got a little cushion or a towel, just place that in between your abs stretched arm and your head. That kind of keeps your head in line with your body. And take a moment to set this up well, because if you get in a good start position, then it does help with the exercise. So you're imagining that your back is resting against an imaginary wall and your feet are resting against that same imaginary wall with your knees bent in front. Your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked, and you want to connect through your center. So we did that at the start of the class, just gently drawing in through your center. And as you do that, you should create a little gap. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. So there should be a little gap there in underneath your waist, rather than allowing your ribs and your waist just to sink down into the floor. So connect, have that strength. And from here, we're going to start working into the glutes, into those muscles in the back pocket as we lift and lower through the top leg. So imagine your sit bones coming together as you roll that leg up. Just take it as far as you can without that hip rolling backwards. Keep those stacked on top of each other. If you're feeling a pinching into the front of your leg, you might want to bring those hips forwards ever so slightly, and then that just makes it a bit easier for your glute muscles to kick in. The other thing, if you're feeling it through the front, is maybe don't take the leg quite so high, so you're starting to pull with those muscles. Just take it as far as you can, squeezing through the glutes as you do that. And then to make it a little bit more challenging, what we're going to do is we're going to lift the heels and then just continue with exactly the same movement, but it's just working through a bigger range and working those muscles a little bit more. So you can have your top hand either on your top hip, or if you're feeling you're a bit wobbly there, you can place fingertips down in front of your body there as you do that lift and lower with the legs. Still connecting through your center, so make sure that your ribs aren't sticking forwards or dropping down to the mat. You should still have that slight little gap there. And then holding the leg at the top, we're going to reach away with the toes and then touch them back together. So we reach away and touch back, still keeping that distance between your knees. So try not to allow that knee to drop down. Try and keep it as far up as you can as you take that little stretch away. Again, staying long through your spine as you do this, keeping your center switched on, keeping that little gap underneath your waist. Well done on this next one, just hold it there. Allow that bottom leg to come down and then lower that top leg under control and just place it back down on top of the other. From here, we're going to come into our side plank sequence. If you remember from last week, we have two options here. You can either come onto your knees and onto your forearm, into your side plank here, or if you'd rather, and you've got the control to come all the way up onto your hands and feet, then you can do that in this position, just holding that side plank position. So choose your option, either on hands and feet or elbow and knees. You don't have to stay in that one position. You can do some of it in this position, then drop down onto your knees once you start feeling a little bit tired. The first thing we're going to do in our side plank is we're going to drop the hips down to the floor and then come back up. So drop down under control and then reaching back. As you're doing this, just make sure you're not locking out through your elbow. You want your arm to be strong but not locking back. You shouldn't feel any pressure on your elbow. If you do, then just drop back to being on your knees and elbow. We're just going to do one more hip drop, and then we're going to take that top arm and do the thread the needle. So we rotate underneath the body as far as you can, and then reach back to the ceiling. Dropping under, and then reaching up. You can still do this if you're on your hand, elbow, and knee. It just looks like this. You're still working through your core, still getting that rotational movement. So, and then from here, our last little exercise is to lift and lower through that top leg. So a really good exercise here for the glutes, for the core, for the shoulder, working right the way through the body. We'll just do a couple more here. And then we need to come down under control. So bring that leg in front, control all the way down. And we've got that whole sequence to do on the other side. So just bringing your legs round. And we're starting with our clam. So arms stretched out. If you've got a little towel or cushion, you're placing that in between. Making sure you've got that straight back position. Everything is stacked. And then when you're ready, switching on through your center and going into that clam exercise as we lift and lower. Rib cage melting down towards your pelvis, not allowing it to dip back and forwards in your back to arch. Feeling your sit bones squeezing together, working into the back. And then challenging a little bit more as we lift the heels and just continue with that exercise there. So just keep that going. I'll come have a little look how you're doing there. This looks very, very good. So nice stable hips, well done. Perfect. Good, good, good. Lovely. And then just holding at the top of the movement there before we extend away through the leg and touch back down. So remember, as you do this, just take a check through your body, make sure shoulders and hips are stacked. You've got that little gap in underneath your waist. Switching on through your glutes, switching on through your center. You should definitely be feeling that into those glutes now. We will make this our last one. Hold it there. Lower the bottom leg and then lower the top leg under control before coming into our side plank sequence on this side. So remember your options. You can either be on your elbow and knee or on your hands and feet. One thing I will say, if you're on your hands and feet and you feel like your hands or your feet are slipping, it sometimes helps just to get a TheraBand and place that in underneath your hand for a little bit of extra grip. So if you're finding that's a problem, you might want to try that. Also be careful as you come into the position, you need to start with your hand quite a way away from you. So as you come into your plank position, your shoulder is above your wrist and not over it. Okay, so just making sure that you've got that set up position nice before we go into our hip drops. So controlling down and lifting up. Making sure that arm stays strong, but the elbow's not looked out. Well done. So your hips don't quite reach the mat. And then coming just to that straight line. Perfect. We'll do one more here. Then reach the arm up. We're taking that. Thread the needle in underneath the body. Good. Just do a couple more. I'll have a quick look at how you're doing here. Take a rest whenever you need to. This is very good. So nice to see different options being used there on your hands, feet, on your elbows and knees. And then, before I skive out too many, let's go for that lift and lower. Last one in our side plank sequence. Try and keep that straight line through the body. Lift the leg each time as high as you can. Squeeze through the glutes. Really good for working the glutes on the underside as well. And then if you remember, bring that leg in front and then just control down, bending the knees. And that's that section done. Quite a challenging little section there, so well done everybody. From here, we're going to come into a kneeling position. So just a high kneeling position. Try not to lose my head off the top of that. There we go. So yeah, that high kneeling position. Again, we did this last week. So we'll come over to this side first of all. So straightening out the opposite leg on top there. And then from here, we're going to transition down into our side hip position. You come down to rest gently on that, that hand. You're wanting to try and get that hip directly over your knee. So it's almost like someone's pulling on that free leg, making a sort of T shape with your body. Now, if this feels too much, just simply rest those toes down and makes it much easier. So your option is here with the toes resting down or lifting up, giving those glutes even more of a workout. Then from here, we slide that leg forwards and then pull it back, just sort of in line with the body. You don't have to go too far behind you. You should definitely be feeling, again, both glutes really working here, still working through your core. We won't do too many here. Let's do one more. And then under control, coming back to that kneeling position, and then just transitioning across to the opposite side. So the toes are out, coming down onto your hand, trying to get that T shape through your body as we slide the leg forwards and backwards. Remembering your option is here with the toes down and just slide forwards and backwards in this position. We'll just do a couple more. And then resting back down. From here, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So just think a moment about setting this position up well. You want to have your hips directly over your knees, and your hands should be just ever so slightly in front of your shoulder. You want to have your back nice and flat. I think I said last week, but imagine you're balancing a tray of drinks on your back, keeping that nice and level, so you're not rounding through the back or dropping down through the lower back to get an arch. You want to think about your spine being nice and long. So long through the back of the neck, lengthening the way through your tailbone, keeping the back of the neck long, so you're not dropping the head down or allowing the chin to sit forwards. It's almost like you had a balloon attached to the back of your head, lifting it up into that strong, straight position. Now, if this feels too much on your wrists, if you feel this uncomfortable, your option is to come onto your knuckles. So you can do that if you wish. What we're going to do here is just go into our basic Superman exercise. So we slide opposite arm and leg away, and then lift it up, just so that you're in alignment. You don't want to lift too high, else you will start arching your back. You're more thinking about lengthening your toes and your fingertips away. Then control back down and switch that to the other side. So we transition across, lift the opposite arm and leg, and then control back, switching again. So just continue this in your own time, switching from side to side, keeping your center nice and strong. Trying to keep that good alignment through the body as you lift the opposite arm and leg. Nice and slow and controlled. As you lift, try not to shift your hips from one side to the other. So you're trying to keep that in a good alignment too. Lovely, well done. These look very good. So again, just be really mindful about the position through your lower back, through your pelvis, making sure there's no movement there. All of the movement wants to be coming from your hip and from your shoulder. Beautiful. Some people here would definitely be able to balance a tray of drinks. I would trust them with my glass of wine, for sure. And then, if you remember last week, we just started to bring a bit of rotation into this movement. So as you extend the leg out behind, instead of the arm reaching forward, you're going to reach the arm under the body. Lower that head down towards the mat. And then switch that across to the opposite side. So really lengthening the way through the arm, trying to keep that control to the movement. Really focus on engaging through your center, lengthening the toes away as you switch from side to side. So just do another couple on each side there. Let me see how you're doing. Oh, beautiful, well done. And again, just really take your time with this movement. Try and get that control. Beautiful, well done. And then obviously, as you start to progress with the exercise, you can make it a little bit quicker and challenge yourself a little bit more there. Beautiful. So when you come back to your rest position on this next one, I'm going to get you just to sit back onto your heels, reach your hands forward. So this is our shell stretch position. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you to sit all the way down onto your heels, you can keep your hips lifted. Then just reaching those fingertips away. And whichever position you're in, either with your hips lifted or your hips sitting down onto your heels, just walk your hands across towards me, towards the camera. Sit a little bit heavier onto your back heel and just feel that stretch through the side of the body. And then walk your hands across to the opposite side, bringing your weight a little bit towards me. Just relax into the stretch, enjoy the stretch. And then as you come out of that stretch, we're going to come into our mermaid position. So we did our mermaid position last week, got one knee bent in front and then the other knee bent with the toes facing backwards. You want to try and keep your hips level as you're in this position. And again, this is another one where the yoga block might help it to feel a bit more comfortable just by placing that in underneath you to help even out your hip position. So what we're going to do from here is you're going to place your hand towards the leg that's bent behind you. So if you're a mirror image of me, that might help. And then reach across with that top arm. So you're really trying to lengthen through the side of the body. You're trying to keep that hip down onto your mat and lengthen your ribs away from there. Again, like someone pulling on that hand to get that increased stretch. And then from there, bring that hand down. Take the other arm all the way over as you reach in front of you. And walk those fingers away to get a really good stretch through that front arm. We'll do that once more to each side, so just reaching up and over. If this feels really uncomfortable, either on your hips or your knees, you can do the same exercise in a cross-legged position. And as you come across, again, just reaching over, trying to keep your hips down. And then coming back. So if you're in your mermaid position, just change your legs over to the side. If you're in a cross-legged position, just change whichever leg is at front. So we're going to start by going this way, reaching up and across, lengthening through here on this side. Then coming back, taking that other arm all the way over, rotating your chest towards the floor and reaching those fingertips forwards. And we'll do that once more to each side. Reaching across. Remembering someone pulling on that wrist, that hand. And then going all the way over to rotate. As we come back into the seated position, keep that front leg where it is, but just straighten out through the opposite side. Just going to alter my camera angle slightly there. This looks perfect. Well done, guys. And then from here, I'm going to get you to rotate your body so that your chest is over your kneecap. And keeping your body as straight as you can, just lean forwards from the hip, getting this stretch into those hamstrings. From here, we can reach the arms forward and start to curl a little bit through our backs. And then bring the arm in front and open out through the other hand. If you're feeling really flexible, try and reach all the way over and grab your toes. I'm cheating slightly because you can see my shoulder rounding forward, so really try and keep your shoulders stacked on top of your top of each other as you do that. And then let's switch that to the other side. So swapping over your legs, twisting through your body. To begin with, try and keep that length through your body. So just hinging from your hip as you drop forwards. And then rounding through as you reach those arms forwards. So getting a little C-shaped curve through your back. Still try and draw in through your center as you do this exercise, and try not to round too much through the upper back. And then that last one, bringing the hand in front, opening out through the chest. And then, if you wish, reaching that arm over towards the opposite toes. I'm a lot further away on this side. You may find that yourself, there's a little bit of an imbalance. Shows where you maybe need to work a little bit more. Just circle that arm back. And that is our session finished. Well done, guys. That looks really good. Every time that I came and had a little look there, looking absolutely fabulous. So well done, guys. If you have any questions, stay on the call and let me just unmute yourself and let me know. Otherwise, hopefully I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.